ठीक है. Let us start with our next topic. And before that, I'll give you one question. Very easy question and very much related to you guys only. Analyze the manifest and latent functions of security of the tenure of the bureaucrats. In the light of Merton's theory. This is 20 mark question. 20 mark question 2016 UPSC. Okay, you have to analyze manifest and latent function of the security of bureaucratic tenure or tenure. Do you understand the meaning of this? Before you start explaining sociologically, first we have to understand. I'll just help you with the meaning of this statement in case people do not know the meaning of this, which can be also case because all of us are beginners here. Okay. Security of the tenure of bureaucrats. Suppose you become IAS officer, okay, or any other officer. What happens generally is that you are transferred within a span of 1 year or maybe even 2 or 3 months. Okay, you were transferred at one point of time. Okay, there was a point of time when people were quickly transferred within 2 or 3 months. They were not allowed to settle in a district. Why? Okay, I don't want to discuss it right now because some of that is very much part of your answer. But just imagine like this, that if you are not, very simply I'm telling you, if you do not listen to politicians or MLAs, okay, or local influencers, that may actually have a consequence on your tenure. Okay, in the sense your stay as an IAS officer or as an IPS or any other officer may still remain valid for the next 30 or 48 odd years, okay, until you get retired. But the fact is you may get transferred, okay, or you may get suspended even, okay. But if you are regularly suspended or transferred, that means you do not have security of tenure. एक जगह आपको जब तक बिठाया नहीं जाएगा, सिक्योरिटी किस बात की है टेन्योर की? अब let us assume that you have been given security of tenure and it has been given already. Okay, I'll explain you all those things and I'll explain you answer. Now when you have been given security, okay, of at least 2 years, according to new rules, a bureaucrat is secure for 2 years, and that is also subject to certain conditions. Okay, now you have been given security. Now if you have to analyze manifest and latent function of this security of tenure, what would that be in light of Merton's theory? This is you have to explain. I'm giving you 8 minutes. 8 bini, I'm giving you 6 minutes. Just think over it. Okay, you don't have to write full-fledged answer. Just think over the points. 6 minutes. Think of the structure. Okay. Audible? नॉट ऑडिबल, ऐसा कैसे हो सकता? ऑडिबल है ना? ठीक है, ओके। So now onwards, I would not be coming right there to see what you have written. Okay, so because it does not look professional. Okay, so I'll see right from here itself. I have my iPad, so I'll see what you guys are writing here itself. Okay, so that will also help me to facilitate proper communication. Okay, with students. Do one thing. See, when you become IS, okay, or when you become bureaucrat, when you are in power position, do one thing. Try your best to ban Instagram reels. ठीक है, इंस्टाग्राम रील्स जो है, रील्स रील्स इसको बंद करवाओ। ठीक है, वाई? You see, when you see this world of Instagram reel, which is new avatar of TikTok, okay, that is very hyper real world. Hyper real world. Hyper. Hyper real. मतलब more real than real. That means not real. Okay. To use a phrase coined by Baudrillard, which is one scholar, which I'll tell you, explain you later on. In the real world, when you fight with people, whether it is verbal abuse or physical fight, okay, in real world, when you are engaged in a fight with any other person, whether it is verbal or physical, you do it without any intention, the only intention being to harm the other person, whether verbally or physically. But in social media, what you do when you are fighting, you will first, before fighting, you place a camera somewhere. पहले कैमरा लगाएंगे कहीं पे, कोई जगह ऐसी जहाँ पे रिकॉर्ड अच्छा हो, हमारी शक्लें हैं दोनों की, and then you start fighting. This is not real world, this is hyper real. In social media, you often see only those things which you do not find in real world. That is why those things get so much views, because those are generally not seen in the real world. Okay, and this unreal world or hyper real world may have huge repercussions on the real world. Okay, yesterday I saw one reel by chance. I'm not on Instagram, but Facebook पे आ जाती है कभी कभी ऐसे ही. Okay, I saw one man who was abusing police wala. Okay, with full confidence, along with his friends, and I was shocked. What is the kind of world that we are encouraging through social media? And those kind of videos get so much of views and so many likes, comments. Wow, what brave act you have done. And that then that person gets so many followers. Now he has followers because he has abused police wala. This is a kind of anomic world that we are creating. तो ये रील्स को बैन करवाना किसी भी तरीके से, ठीक है, ये सबसे पहले तुम्हारा काम होना चाहिए, जितना तुम्हारे हाथ में हो. अब उस टाइम तो नहीं होएगा, आगे जाके कभी भी लाइफ में, उससे पहले ही मैं तो चाहता हूँ कोई कर दे. टिकटॉक बैन हुआ इंडिया में, पबजी बैन हुआ, बहुत अच्छा हुआ. अब ये तीसरा एक ही रह गया, उसके बाद वापस वी विल हैव हार्मोनियस सोसाइटी, पीसफुल सोसाइटी. ओके, otherwise there will be conflict between social media and real world. Okay, anyhow, let us analyze the manifest and latent functions of security of the tenure of bureaucrats in the light of Morton's theory. First of all, we should understand the meaning of manifest and latent. Okay, what is the meaning of manifest? Manifest, as you know, simply means anticipated consequence. Okay, manifest means anticipated consequence. Latent means unanticipated, जो सोचा नहीं था वो भी हो गया. Unanticipated consequence. Now here, see, although dysfunction is not written, but you will have to, and you should be explaining dysfunction as well. Okay, dysfunction of security of tenure of bureaucrats. You should mention dysfunction as well. Okay, imagine you have written these two, and other person has written these two along with dysfunctions. Obviously, he'll get more marks. That happens. Okay, in fact, he will establish a document in the mindset of examiner, and the examiner will evaluate other papers by keeping that document in his mind. We actually give model answers to the examiners. There's no model answer in UPSC. We give them model answers, not just model answer, we also give them model questions for the next year. हम देते हैं, हमारे आंसर्स पढ़ पढ़ के ही वो अगले साल के क्वेश्चन बनाते हैं. ये होता है. Okay, let us try to understand manifest function. See, first of all, we should understand. See, now here there are two kinds of people. One who have read these things in GS, polity, or ethics, maybe Nolan committee or those committees, ARC, all those things. Okay. There may be another set of people who do not know about ARC, Nolan, or any other case like Prakash Singh versus Union of India, or TSR Subramaniam and other 83 bureaucrats versus Union of India with public interest litigations. These are general studies details. You may use them here. Okay. Those things will help you to get more marks. ये inevitable है. Okay. But if you have written only those things, it will give a very GS type impression to your answer. It will not give sociological impression to your answer. So we have to have a proper balance between GS and sociology. GS you understand, sociology now you will get to know. Let us first understand how do we approach this question. First, our first attempt should be to define these two. We have done this. Now, second attempt should be to explain briefly on security of tenure of bureaucrat. Briefly explain the issue. The issue is security of tenure. See, I don't know how many of you have read Prakash Singh versus Union of India case, or how many of you know about it. The fact is, it all started with police reforms. Okay, in police, if if there is any political intervention in any service, that is police service. I mean, of course, it is there in other services as well, but the extent to which politicians intervene in police bureaucracy or police administration, that to that extent you would not see intervention in other services. Okay, and therefore it was inevitable on the part of police officials to go to court against Union of India, and this happened in year 2006, I guess, if I'm not wrong. As far as I can remember, it was 2006 case, or maybe 2012, maybe between these two. Okay, and Prakash Singh filed a case against Union of India for the same reason, that because of political intervention, our efficiency is getting reduced. We are not able to focus on our work. We are not able to follow civil service rules and conduct because of the political intervention. We are not able to fulfill our duties and obligations. Okay. And finally, Supreme Court paid heed to all these things and came up with police reforms. Okay. And after some point of time, TSR Subramaniam, along with other bureaucrats, TSR Subramaniam was a cabinet secretary, a very great personality. He is responsible for many reforms, including education reforms. Okay. It was only because of his public interest litigation, PIL, that the idea of security of tenure across bureaucracy got established. And that was for 2 years minimum. Minimum for 2 years, nobody can tamper with a bureaucratic tenure. Okay. Unless there are some issues, okay, with the tenure of bureaucrat itself. Okay. Basically, that is subject to certain condition, but largely it was given for 2 years. So this is the brief background about the issue. Now, what will we do? Now we will talk about sociological analysis. First, we write manifest. What can be the manifest consequence, anticipated consequence of security of tenure of bureaucrat? First of all, it will foster or it will promote professionalism. Okay, it will promote good governance and efficiency at work. These three things it will promote. और ये कौन बोलता है? सुप्रीम कोर्ट बोलते हैं खुद. सुप्रीम कोर्ट ही खुद बोलता है ये चीज. ओके. It will foster professionalism, efficiency, and good governance. इसमें कोई इशू? आई होप यू नो द मीनिंग ऑफ गुड गवर्नेंस. कोई ऐसा तो नहीं जिसको गुड गवर्नेंस के बारे में नहीं पता? बेसिक चीज है ये, बिकॉज देर आर सम पीपल हु हैव नॉट रेड GS or they might have missed out on few things while reading GS. Okay, so I hope yahan tak clear hai. Okay, second, it will foster specialization. Specialization at workplace. How? You have been posted to education department of education. Okay, now if you stay in department of education for at least 2 years, you will develop specialization on education reforms and the issues with the education policy in India, right? If you are suspended within 3 months or posted or transferred to some other department within 3 months, how will you develop specialization in that area? So it will foster specialization at workplace, right? Generalist then becomes specialist only if it gets to have a minimum tenure of at least 2 years. Okay, this was the ruling of Supreme Court. Okay. Third, functional freedom. To bureaucracy. ये भी तो intended है, anticipated है. It will give freedom to Indian bureaucracy. Okay, they will not be taking any action in fear or due to any intervention of any sort from the political end. Okay. Functional freedom to bureaucracy, which means it will curb irregular transfers of bureaucrat. It will curb irregular transfer of bureaucrat. This is what the anticipated consequence of the security of tenure is. Okay. What else can we write? Fourth, it will also curb transfer industry. ये एक industry है. Have you heard this term? Transfer industry. ट्रांसफर पॉलिसी के अंडर भी एक इंडस्ट्री डेवलप हुई है. Who are the maliks, the owners of this industry? Politicians and corporates. These are the owner of this industry. That means they hold command over bureaucrats. Politicians and corporates. Okay, they hold command over bureaucrats. And this is something that second ARC has also mentioned, transfer Raj. We also call it transfer Raj, but जिसका नाम English में industry बोल सकते हो आप. Okay, so if we have security of tenure, it will attack transfer industry, or it will curb transfer industry. It will weaken their monopoly, or it will weaken the power that politicians and corporates hold over bureaucrats. It will weaken the nexus between politicians and corporates. Okay. So, fourth, it will weaken transfer industry. Right? Remember, transfer is a weapon. Hathiyar hai hathiyar. Transfer is a weapon in the hands of politicians, which is used time and again to sanction bureaucrats. Okay, transfer is not just transfer. Transfer is a weapon. Chair is not chair. Chair can also be a weapon. Transfer is also a weapon. ये मैं क्या यूज कर रहा हूँ यहाँ पे? तो जो हो रहा है वही यूज कर रहा हूँ. Okay, how transfer is used? That means how politicians look at transfer. To them, politicians, to the politician, transfer is a tool, a weapon to create fear amongst the bureaucrats. काम करवा रहे हो, तबादला करवा देंगे तुम्हारा, ये काम नहीं किया तो. क्या है? वेपन है. ओके. This was all about manifest functions. Now let us understand latent functions. First, let us see तुम लोगों ने क्या लिखा है. Let me also see what have you written in latent functions. सर हमको कब आएगा ऐसा आंसर लिखना? Good question. In fact, तुमको कब आएगा आकाश ऐसा आंसर लिखना? जब सिलेबस खत्म हो जाएगा. ओके. क्या होता है when you basically you are asking me हमको कब आएगा ऐसा गिटार प्ले करना. जब आप फर्स्ट टाइम सुनते हो गिटार किसी से, पूछते यार हम ऐसा प्ले कब कर पाएंगे. आप यही पूछ रहे हो देखा जाए तो. ठीक है. अब तभी वो ऐसा प्ले कर पाओगे जब आप पूरा सीख लोगे. एक दो कॉर्ड्स प्ले करके तो आप सिर्फ वो एक ही गाना बजा पाओगे बार बार. अब दो आदत सी हो गई है, उसके आगे कोई गाना बजा नहीं पाओगे. तो पूरा सीखो, उसके बाद अपने आप आएगा. पेशेंस. बट ये है कि सीखते जाओ. ठीक है. लेट अस ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कि आप लोगों ने लेटेंट फंक्शन में क्या लिखा है. डोमिनेशन शुभांगी. प्रतिभा. रोल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट इन फीमेल ब्यूरोक्रेट्स. Resolves role conflict in female. Promotes status quo tendencies. Avoid revolt. Empathetic liaison with people. And lead to alienation. अरे बाबा क्या बात है. Alienation of bureaucrats doing monotonous repetitive work through tenure as a result. Reagent social mobility. अच्छा लिखा है तुम लोगों ने. ठीक है. बस प्रॉब्लम क्या है देखो, ये सब लोगों ने एक एक बताया है. बेस्ट क्या होएगा जब ये सारे आंसर एक ही बंदा कोई लिख दे. He will get more marks. Okay, so now I'll talk about some latent functions. Other than these functions that you have talked about, these are equally good and relevant. Some of them are not. I'll tell you which of them are not. But first, let me explain the latent functions. Okay. Understand one thing. When you have to write latent function, that is unintended consequences or unanticipated consequences, you should not limit yourself to bureaucrat only or his life or bureaucracy only. You should talk about many other things other than bureaucracy. Other than bureaucracy, you should talk about many other things. क्योंकि bureaucrat की life isolation में नहीं है. Bureaucrat है. Bureaucrat is a bureaucrat in the office for 6 or 7 hours, but after that he has family life, public life, many other things. उनका भी सोचो, तब आएगा latent दिमाग में. Okay. क्या कह रहे हो? Private life can be well planned. Yes, yes, nice point. सारे के सारे पॉइंट काफी अच्छे हैं आप लोग के. ठीक है. सो फर्स्ट, जैसा कि एक ने ऑलरेडी बोला है, इट कर्ब्स एलियनेशन. When you are regularly suspended or transferred from one pocket to another pocket within a span of 2 or 3 months, you do not feel integrated with the system. You do not feel integrated with the system, and it may foster which currents? Egoistic currents. Egoistic, ये सोचा ही नहीं किसी ने. Egoistic currents क्या होते हैं? Loss of integration. एक बात बताओ, हर 2 महीने में सस्पेंड होते रहोगे, दोस्त को नहीं बोलोगे यार क्या कर दिया मैंने यार जिंदगी में, अच्छा खासा बीटेक था. गुस्सा तो आएगा एक बार के लिए कि यार ये इन लोगों ने कुछ पढ़ा बड़ा है नहीं, मैं तो वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री, वर्ल्ड ज्योग्राफी, इंडियन पॉलिटी सब पढ़ा था, इसने कुछ नहीं पढ़ा है, तो भी ज्यादा मेरे पे पावर चला रहा है अपनी. ठीक है. सो कर्ब्स एलियनेशन. First, when you have security of tenure, it will curb alienation, and secondly, it will also curb it, or it will also minimize. In fact, instead of curbing, I would say it would minimize loss of integration or egoistic currents. You know, there have been many bureaucrats in the history who have committed suicide. पता है कि नहीं पता है? Many bureaucrats have committed suicide. Reason generally attributed to the suicide is largely political, sometimes familial, related to private life, but everything is connected. Private life is not just private, it has to be seen in the context of public. Public life is not just public, has to be seen in the context of what is going on in the private. Everything is connected to each other. Sociological imagination. Okay. So it will minimize loss of integration, egoistic currents. Okay. क्या कह रहे हो? हाँ, फेटलिस्टिक मत यूज करो. ओके, फेटलिस्टिक कम ही यूज किया करो. Durkheim himself has never explained so much on fatalism. When Durkheim talks about fatalism, he is largely talking about high regulation, and that is felt by slaves. Okay. Of course, you can say that yes, bureaucrats also feel highly regulated at times, but although you know academically it may sound right, but मत लिखना, ज्यादा बेटर ये रहेगा इंटीग्रेशन वाला, क्योंकि स्लेव्स के लिए ज्यादा यूज किया उसने डरखाइन ने, इसलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ. अदरवाइज सी देखो, ऐसा नहीं है सोशियोलॉजी में कि ये गलत माना जाएगा, सही सही ये भी माना जाएगा, बट ज्यादा एक्यूरेट ईगोइज्म वाला रहेगा. ओके. ओके. थर्ड, when you have fixed tenure, you will have strong familial ties. Family life will be much more better. Your children's education will not get disturbed. When you are regularly transferred, तुम्हारे बच्चे की एजुकेशन वो बर्बाद होगी. 2 साल वो पढ़ा इस स्कूल में, तीसरे साल वो कहीं और दूसरे स्कूल में पढ़ रहा है. ठीक है, 5th क्लास के बाद उसके स्कूल 6 बार बदले 12 साल में. ये होता है गवर्नमेंट ऑफिसर्स जो होते हैं उनके बच्चों के साथ ये होता है. स्कूल के ट्रांसफर हमारे साथ हुई है बहुत बार. ठीक है. फाइनली मैं परेशान हो गया था और मैंने बोल दिया था मैं नहीं आ रहा. ठीक है, मैं अकेला रह लूंगा, पढ़ाई खराब होती है। तो when you have security of tenure, okay, it strengthens familial ties. Okay, and does not disturb children's education anymore. इसका फैमिली का भी मेंशन करना है आपको, इसका ध्यान रखो, ठीक है। इसलिए मैंने कहा कि इसको सिर्फ वहां तक लिमिटेड मत रखना। हाँ, यस, मैरिटल लाइफ, एक्स्ट्रा मैरिटल अफेयर, एक्स्ट्रा मैरिटल अफेयर वो आप ना डिसफंक्शन में, इनफैक्ट अभी उसको उसको भी लिखने की जरूरत नहीं, क्योंकि सिक्योरिटी है टेन्योर की, ठीक है। थोड़ा सा ना फार फेस्ट हो सकता है आर्ग्यूमेंट, इसलिए अभी इसको अवॉइड ही कर रहा हूं मैं, अभी नहीं लिखते इसको, ठीक है। सो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट दैट। नाउ रिमेंबर, Supreme Court in its ruling in 2013 also talked about establishment of Civil Service Board, CSB. Okay, Civil Service Board was supposed to be, since it has not been established yet, so I would say it was supposed to be monitoring and helping the government or aiding the government in transfer policy, okay, or monitoring the performance of the bureaucrat in that district, and then to advise the government on whether he should be transferred or not. This was supposed to be the objective of Civil Service Board, which has not yet been established but may get established soon. But whenever it will get established, it will, of course, erect another bureaucratic authority in the long chain of pyramid, or in the long chain of command. Another bureaucratic authority will get established to overlook or to oversee the bureaucratic performance, okay, and that will legitimize surveillance on bureaucrats. It will legitimize surveillance on bureaucrats. The surveillance by politicians is already there, it will add up another surveillance, bureaucratic surveillance, okay. जब वो होएगा तब की बात है। Now let us talk about dysfunctions. Let us see what have you written in dysfunctions. Can integration due to security or tenure lead to effective collective orient? Yes, yes, yes. नहीं, तुषार थोड़ा फार फेस्ट सा हो जाएगा ये। आई मीन, आई होप यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ। आई मीन ये फोर्सफुल सा थोड़ा लगेगा। ये नीट एंड, इट इज नॉट वेरी नीट एंड क्लीन, जिसे बोलते हैं नीट एंड क्लीन, ये थोड़ा सा, unless you exemplify, if you give examples and not just write theory, then it will make sense, but if you write only this much ना, थोड़ा सा uneasiness हो सकती है, okay. Corruption, okay. Non-obedience of hierarchy showing indifference may develop potential conflict of interest, corruption, ठीक है, nice, okay. So first, remember dysfunction. When you have security of tenure, what will be the dysfunction? It will develop bureaucratic personalities. Bureaucratic, till yesterday you were bureaucrat, now you have security of tenure, you are bureaucratic personality now. पावर आ जाएगी, अरे कोई कुछ नहीं उखाड़ सकता मेरा 2 साल तक, ठीक है। क्या होएगा? Remember, when you are new to a posting, initially you are very flexible about the rules, about everything in the district, okay. Since you are very new, you do not have any much of experience in that district or in that posting, so you would listen to low grade bureaucrats also initially. You would listen to their advice, you would pay heed to their advice. Gradually, when you feel that you have developed enough specialization in this area, and now you do not need advice of these people, and which happens over a period of time, okay, then you will become bureaucratic personality. Now the people who used to give you advice, you would not be listening to them. अरे हटो, पता है मुझे, 2 साल हो गए मेरे को यहाँ पे, सब पता है, ठीक है. Bureaucratic. So you would not be flexible about rules. You would now become more and more inflexible, more and more rigid. Okay. Bureaucratic personality. Okay, that means red tapeism can also happen. Now that you know that nothing is going to create any trouble for you in the next 2 years, you may develop lackadaisical attitude, which may foster red tapeism in bureaucracy. Okay. Concentration of power, very nice point. Okay. Concentration of power. So understood, this is how you have to analyze the things. Manifest, latent functions, and then I talked about dysfunctions. Okay. Now, I would like to and in fact you can also talk about, in latent function you can always talk about restoration of normal division of labor. In latent functions you can talk about Durkheim's restoration of normal division of labor. If you have regular suspension transfer, it fosters abnormal division of labor or pathology, inadequate coordination, okay, or forceful work environment. Okay, but if you have professional ethics, if you have state which has come up with these rules to help you not feel this thing, then it will automatically foster normal division of labor, restore normal division of labor, and integrate people once again with each other. And it will also establish solidarity between the politicians and the bureaucrats. Okay, if you are staying there in the district or that in that department, it will foster solidarity between politicians and bureaucrats. Okay, it will foster bonhomie between these two. It may turn out to be dysfunctional as well. Okay, because too much of proximity can also lead to concentration of power, a nexus. Okay, can we include depersonalization? Yes, depersonalization you can say, disenchanted. Okay, formal, rational. You can talk about these things in dysfunctions. Okay, so chalo, we have given 1 hour to this thing. Okay, almost mutton pura revise hi ho gaya aap log ka. Let us now discuss sociological theories of religion. The chapter's name is Religion and Society. Religion and Society. First part is sociological theories of religion. Okay, we will finish this chapter in 2 days. टारगेट भी साथ साथ लिखते रहेंगे. Yes, nice points. Now remember, when a sociologist is dealing with religion, he is not interested in questions like whether God exists or not. This is not the domain of a sociologist. We are not interested in the life after death. These are not the questions we deal with. For these questions, we have philosophers and theologians. What do sociologists deal with when they study religion? Sociologists deal with the impact of religion as a structure on society. What is the impact of this structure called religion on society? What is religion doing in society? Okay, what is heart doing in our body? What is brain doing in our body? Similarly, what is religion doing on earth? I am from Mars. What is religion doing on earth? This is what I am studying. Or this is what any student of sociology or professor of sociology or a sociologist would study. Okay. If you know this very well, that the impact of religion is not limited to maintenance of society, it can also have unintended consequences, to use Merton's phrase, dysfunctional aspect as well we have of religion on society. Okay. In order to deal with what religion does, we have come up with many theories, because there is no one thing that religion does. There are many things that religion does. To understand each and everything or each and every perspective, we have to understand every theory. And therefore, the first unit, the first subtopic of this unit is sociological theories of religion. Okay. And what are the theories that we deal with? I'm writing here name of the theories. First, evolutionary. Evolutionary theory of religion. Okay. Second, we deal with functional theory of religion. Third, we deal with Marxist theory of religion. Okay. And within Marxist, we also deal with neo-Marxist theory of religion. Basically, these things will help you have more better understanding on these theories. Again, okay, जैसे जैसे हम पढ़ते जाएंगे उतना theory में हमें और clarity आती रहेगी. Okay. Next, we also study religious market theory. This is also very interesting theory. Religious market theory. It is also called as rational choice theory. Okay. We also deal with existential security theory. Existential security theory. We also deal with interactionist theory. Interactionist theory. We also deal with feminist theory. Feminist theory. and we also deal with postmodern theory. कितनी थ्योरीज हो गई हैं अभी? 1 2 3 4 8. Okay. Remember, the more we understand theories, more dimensions we get to tackle question. जितने आप थ्योरीज पढ़ोगे उतने आपको डायमेंशंस मिलेंगे, and it will add up to the already existing perspectives that you have developed so far. Okay. So first, let us try to understand evolutionary theory. We'll start with evolutionary theory. Okay. Remember, whatever I'm going to tell you in theory is going to help you in B part, C part. Okay, which are all about religious practices that we do in our societies. Okay, monism, pluralism, sect and cults. इन सबको समझने के लिए थ्योरीज काम आएंगी. Okay. Communalism, fundamentalism, secularism, secularization, all those things you will be able to understand if you have proper understanding of theories. Okay. And you will also get to know how in GS what we write on secularism is very different from what we write in sociology on secularism through theories. Difference है दोनों में बहुत ज्यादा. Okay. Evolutionary theory first. What is the meaning of evolutionary theory on religion? Evolutionary theory, remember, tells us, explains us that more we evolve, the more modern we get. The more we evolve, the more modern we get. More modern we get, more there is decline of pre-modern beliefs. Understanding? जितना हम डेवलप करेंगे उतना ही pre-modern belief. Religion is a pre-modern belief. Religion was governing everything till French Revolution. Okay. So religion is considered as pre-modern belief. So more we advance, more religion loses its power, and more science takes over religion as a body of knowledge. Okay. And this is something that you have read already. If you remember Auguste Comte, what did Auguste Comte tell us? He said, first we had theological society. ये क्या था? ये evolutionary theory तो था. Theological society, and then we had metaphysical society, and then we have scientific society. Understood? Law of 3 stage explains that with evolution religion declines. Okay. So one is already over. Simple था. क्या था इसके अंदर? कुछ भी नहीं. तभी मैंने बोलता थ्योरी अगर आपका स्ट्रांग है तो आगे की यूनिट्स कुछ भी नहीं, टाइम लगेगा नहीं. ओके. चलो. Also you will get introduced to some more scholars gradually. There is one man, James Fraser. How does he look at evolution of societies universally? Okay. He says the first ever belief system in the world was based on magic. Magic. ठीक है. जब भगवान ही थे तब कौन थे? जादूगर थे. मैजिशियंस वर दी रूलर्स. ठीक है. जैसे क्या होता है? आपने कभी देखा होगा कि देयर वाज अ कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ तंत्र तंत्र शक्ति जिसे कहते हैं, तांत्रिक शक्ति जो भी होती है, तांत्रिक शक्ति, ओके, इट एक्चुअली हैड मोर पावर एंड पीपल रियली हैड दिस बिलीफ दैट if, for example, if today you have contracted corona, okay, in those times the ilaj, okay, or the vaccine to corona was not Sputnik or COVID or kya Covaxin or Covishield. The vaccine to corona was tantra, magical spells. This was the kind of society we had. Okay, black magic. So James Fraser believed that this is how our society evolved. First, it was magic, then came religion, and finally develops science. And these are what? These are body of knowledge. It takes time. The first body of knowledge that we have in the world, in any society, is magical. Then we develop a religious body of knowledge, and then third, finally, we develop scientific body of knowledge. Okay? This was what James Fraser said. Now, there are many other evolutionary theorists as well. But we would not be talking a lot about them. But there is one evolutionary theory specifically related to evolution of religion. These theories were not about evolution of religion per se. These are about how religion declines. It was not about evolution of religion. It was largely devolution of religion. Okay. So now a theorist that I'm going to talk about is concerned more about evolution of religion per se. His name is Edward Burnett Tyler. E.B. Tyler. Okay, he's an anthropologist. He says that first ever form of religion that we had was animism. Animism. बैटरी खत्म हो रही है इसकी. Animism. Then we had polytheism. And finally we had monotheism. Finally, we have monotheism. And he is explaining that the world's most developed societies would be monotheistic. ये क्या? Also see the implication of these theories. ये भी हमें देखना पड़ेगा. When he's saying that monotheism is the most developed form, that means he's telling that societies where we do not have monotheism are not developed. Okay. Latent function of the theory given by E.B. Tyler. Unanticipated. He is actually telling India backward. India is not monotheistic society. We have multiple religions. That means we are polytheistic. Okay. We believe in multiple gods. 33 crore gods हैं हिंदू के अंदर ही. In Hinduism, we have 33 crore gods. कंट्रीज की पॉपुलेशन से ज्यादा हैं गॉड्स हमारे पास. Okay. So evolutionary theory of religion is over. Now, what we will study? We will study functional theory of religion. In functional theory, who will we study? Tell me name of functional scholars. Durkheim. वेबर कहाँ से आ गया शुभांगी? Durkheim, Parsons, हाँ. मालिनोव्स्की सही है। डरखाइम, पार्सन्स, मालिनोव्स्की। First, we will explain Durkheim because he was the first person we studied. Okay. So, Durkheim, what does he say on religion? Very interesting. Durkheim is saying whatever society it may be, whether it is Indian, American, French, okay, in every society, there is a conception of sacred and profane. You will find in every society there is something that people regard as sacred, there are something which people regard as profane. So, first thing that he says is that sacred profane dichotomy is universal. Dichotomy is universal. हर जगह है, सिंपल सी बात है, ठीक है। अच्छा, everywhere we have sacred profane, but religion forms around profane or sacred? Religion forms around sacred, what we regard as sacred, उसके around religion बनता है. Okay, religion forms around sacred. Whatever we consider as sacred that helps in development of religion around what we consider as sacred. Okay. Now, these are the two basic things that Durkheim has said on religion. Now let us understand, according to Durkheim, what are the functions of religion? Functions of religion. First function, it brings social cohesion. Brings social cohesion. Okay. If 100 people collectively consider something as sacred, that means these 100 people are integrated with each other around something which they collectively consider as sacred. So it creates a bond of integration amongst them. बैटरी खत्म हो गई इसकी आईपैड की, कल से चार्ज करके लाऊंगा. वहीं आना पड़ेगा और क्या करूं अब. हटाओ इसको कुर्सी को. Okay. Second function. If you remember, he talked about collective effervescence. It elevates you to an excited stage. When you consider something as sacred, it elevates you. That means it helps you to go into or transcend into an excited level. You are in a state of mind, or you are in a state where you may get highly emotional or euphoric. हिस्टेरिक जिसे बोलते हैं, या तो आप बहुत ही खुश हो जाओगे या बहुत ही पागल हो जाओगे. एकदम एक्साइटेड लेवल पे आप होते हो उस टाइम जब आप उस जोन में हो. ओके, सो इट क्रिएट्स euphoric sentiments. Euphoric sentiments, which Durkheim called as collective effervescence. Okay. Third, It transmits common beliefs among the believers. क्या लिख रहे हो? Infuses morality. Yes, it transmits common belief among the believers. Common beliefs and infuses morality. Common belief and infuses morality. Fourth, it also has one more function, cognitive function. Okay, cognitive function, which I will explain you later on as well, because वो आगे जाके काम आएगा. Cognitive function means ability to understand the world or ability to classify. In fact, you know, Durkheim has said very beautiful thing also, that the very development of science is because of religion. साइंस इस दुनिया में पहले से था क्या? पहले से तो नहीं था साइंस. As a body of knowledge I am talking about. Okay. Initially we were religious. Then developed science. That means there is a relation between these two forms of knowledge. Science although has developed as a refutation to religion, but the very development of science is or can be traced back to the religion itself, because it is the religion that has given us cognitive functions to classify the world. The very first thing of classification that we do in our world is good, bad. ये हम करते हैं ना. Pure, impure. ये हम करते हैं. God, evil. Day, night. Normal, abnormal. Sacred, profane. But ये सब जो है हमारे दिमाग में कहाँ से आया? The very ability to classify the world or to bring typification to the world. This is edible. Edible मतलब खाने लायक. Not edible. खाने लायक नहीं है. This is potable. पीने लायक. Not potable. पीने लायक नहीं है. This kind of classification that we do in our everyday life is because of religion. It was a religion that actually told us this is moral, this is immoral. सबसे पहला क्लासिफिकेशन इस दुनिया में आया था मॉरल इमोरलिटी का. उसके बाद से हमने ऐसे देखना शुरू किया दुनिया को. प्योर इम्प्योर, ब्राह्मण शूद्र. ये रिलीजन में तो है हमारे. ओके, तो कॉग्निटिव फंक्शन है उसका. फोर्थ, cognitive function. So these are the four functions of religion according to Durkheim. Now, इतना लिखना नहीं है सिर्फ. अब असली गेम शुरू हुई. Beyond theories. ये तो फंक्शंस हैं रिलीजन के. टेल मी, विद इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन, अभी रिवाइज भी होता रहेगा तुम्हारा सब कुछ, ठीक है. विद इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन, religion will weaken or not? According to Durkheim, you might not have read it explicitly, but क्या लगता है? What would Durkheim have said? Although I have given this in notes also. ये notes में भी दिया, मैंने पढ़ाया भी होगा. Remember, when industrialization happened, okay, when French Revolution happened, what happened? What was the result of these two forces? Individualism, है ना? And Durkheim, you know this, was conservative. ये बताया था मैंने. And being conservative, उसको नहीं अच्छा लगा कि we are challenging religion. ये मैंने बताया हुआ है. So you know that he is conservative socially. Okay, socially he is conservative. He did not like people challenging God, because God had actually maintained order. Now you have challenged, individualism comes in, but with this individualism, there is loss of collectivism or loss of integration among the people who were integrated because of their common beliefs. The question is, what is that one thing which is now again going to integrate people? Religion has gotten weakened, definitely. But Durkheim says one very beautiful statement. हाँ बिल्कुल सही, बिल्कुल सही। पहले मैं देख लूं और किसी ने बोला कि नहीं बोला ये चीज। कीगन, वेरी नाइस, यू आर राइट। अश्विनी, यू आर ऑल्सो राइट। हाँ प्रणव, यू आर ऑल्सो राइट। शिवम, सारे सही हैं। स्पेशलाइज, नॉट वीक। बिल्कुल 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 बिल्कुल। हाँ देखो, whosoever said religion has weakened are not right technically. Okay, according to Durkheim you are not right, but if you have said that no, religion will not weaken, rather religion will change its form, then you are right and Durkheim will be happy with you. Okay. Durkheim clearly said, as Keegan has also mentioned, old gods are dead, न्यू वंस आर नॉट येट बॉर्न। अभी पैदा हुए नहीं है नए भगवान, पुराने तो मर गए, नए वाले भी पैदा नहीं हुए, आएंगे पर। न्यू वंस आर नॉट येट बॉर्न, बट व्हाट डज इट मीन? न्यू वंस विल बॉर्न, यही तो है। न्यू वंस आर नॉट येट बॉर्न, पर वो आएंगे। In fact, if you know, Durkheim is the one scholar who believed that religion is nothing but society apathy. जब तक सोसाइटी है तब तक रिलीजन है, तो रिलीजन कभी नहीं जाएगा। स्टेट इज एम्बॉडीमेंट ऑफ मोरालिटी। जब तक स्टेट है तब तक रिलीजन है। स्टेट हमारा ख्याल रखता है कि नहीं रखता है? हमें बचाता है पाकिस्तान से, चाइना से, नेपाल से। स्टेट हमें खाना भी देता है, खा लो मिड डे मील, ठंडा हो जाएगा। पढ़ लो, राइट टू एजुकेशन हमें वो दे रहा है। पढ़ लो, जॉब नहीं मिलेगी नहीं तो। स्किल्स भी ले लो थोड़ी, अब स्किल इंडिया भी दे रहा हूं तुमको। पढ़ तो लिया, स्किल्स भी तो लेनी पड़ेगी। तुमको जॉब भी मैं ही दे रहा हूं एज अ स्टेट। स्टेट इज सेइंग now you have studied in RTE, you have gotten skills under skill India, now make in India। पढ़ लिया, स्किल डेवलप कर ली, अब बनाओ इंडिया में। स्टेट जॉब भी दे रहा है, अच्छा स्टेट पेंशन भी दे रहा है, अटल पेंशन योजना, जीवन ज्योति बीमा योजना। स्टेट सब कुछ कर रहा है हमारे लिए। स्टेट हमारी फैमिली को प्लानिंग भी कर रहा है। इट इज प्लानिंग अवर फैमिली एज वेल, कितने बच्चे करोगे कितने नहीं। स्टेट इज अवर पेरेंट, पेरेंट्स भी इतना ख्याल रखते हैं जितना वो रखते हैं। सेम हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है? और यही मैक्स वेबर भी बोलता था। पेट्रियार्कियलिज्म का ही एक्सटेंडेड फॉर्म है पेट्रीमोनियलिज्म। पेट्रीमोनियलिज्म इज नथिंग एक्सटेंडेड फॉर्म ऑफ पेट्रियार्कियलिज्म। स्टेट वही काम कर रहा है, तो स्टेट इज नथिंग embodiment of morality, and therefore religion is nothing worship of society, because as long as we have sacreds, belief in sacred, so long we have religion. To us state is sacred, we believe in state. All of us who does not believe in state is anti-nationalist, anti-nationalist, profane. Sacreds are those who are nationalist, because though all those people have collectively center around what they collectively consider as sacred, that is nation. Understood? So religion will not die, religion will change its form. Now इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? These things are important which I am telling you here, because ये आपको B और C में काम आएगा, वहां मैं एक्सप्लेन करूंगा नहीं। ठीक है? Basically Durkheim is saying Religion was there. FRIR. Religion will still be there. Only the form will change. Form. This will be new. This was old. Okay. And what are the new forms of religion? Anything. Constitution is our new sacred. Earlier, what was our sacred? Vedas. We had belief in Veda. Today we have belief in Constitution. We had belief in Shastras. Today we believe in Constitution, laws. We don't believe in Manusmriti now. We believe in legal laws. But belief is still there. Belief तो अभी भी है ना. The people who call themselves agnostic, they are believers in not believing. ना मानने वाले भी मानते हैं कि नहीं है. वो भी तो मान ही रहे हैं कि नहीं मानना. Agnosticism is also religion. So agnostic कोई नहीं होता. It is not about God, it is about belief. Okay. So new form of religion will develop. And इसके लिए आपको क्या लिखना है? Old gods are dead, new ones are not yet born. इतना लिख दोगे ना? Marks ही marks, marks ही marks. जैसे दुकानों में लिखा होता है ना, पंचर ही पंचर, किताब ही किताब. Okay. That means remember this one word, because tomorrow I'll also explain you one concept called as secularization. Secularization एक concept है. The more we evolve, the less religious we become and more scientific we become. This is known as secularization, a process characterized by decline in religious belief is known as that means if we are evolving, we are getting secularized. जैसे जैसे religion जा रहा है, साइंस आते जा रहा है, we are becoming more and more secularized. ये secularization है. But Durkheim, would he support secularization thesis? No, because he believes one religion has gone dead, another religion will come into existence, new forms. तो secularization नहीं है Durkheim के लिए. Okay, so क्योंकि sacred is something every society will have. Even today science has become religion, because today we believe science in as much as we used to believe in religion. क्या बात है Durkheim? Science has become sacred. तो ये जो dichotomy है religion versus science, this dichotomy does not exist for Durkheim. वो बोलता है साइंस तो आया है रिलीजन से. कॉग्निटिव फंक्शन का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, साइंस रिलीजन से आया है. एंड साइंस इज न्यू फॉर्म ऑफ रिलीजन. ओके, so this is what you had to write. Now next is Parsons. Parsons से पहले let me explain Malinowski. Because Malinowski is a unique, not unique, ऐसा कुछ unique तो है नहीं उसमें. Basically he is largely an anthropologist, okay, not a sociologist. Anthropologist है, but still काम आ जाता है ये कभी कभी, हालांकि he is not told us something very new already that is known to us. Okay, Malinowski is one anthropologist who has conducted a field study. Just remember this, that anthropologists generally conduct field studies. They go to tribal locations, conduct field study, understand their culture, record their culture, brings back to the state or colonial administration. Okay, at one point of time, the first ever census that was conducted in India, 1871. Census were conducted by anthropologists only. In fact, conducted in the sense carried out by anthropologists. Okay, they were the people who would go to field, collect data, understand behavior of different communities, label them as different caste groups, bring the data to the administrators, colonialist, who would then formulate policies accordingly. Okay. Malinowski has conducted one study in Trobriand Island. Just remember this one fact, only one fact. Okay. And Malinowski is the first person in the world to develop a method of field study which we call today as participant observation. Okay, इसको ध्यान रखना बस. Inventor of participant observation. These are some of the extra details that I'm telling you, which will help you in other chapters. Inventor of participant observation. Okay, what is participant observation? It is one of the technique to collect data. Interview you conduct to collect data. Karan Thapar, okay, Barkha Dutt, they conduct interviews. They also conduct surveys. Media agencies conduct surveys to collect data. Participant observation is another method to collect data. In that, you actually spend a lot of time with the community, sit day and night with them, spend 2 or 3 years with them. Karan Thapar is not spending 2 or 3 years, he is spending half an hour with the person who's being interviewed. Barkha Dutt does same thing. Okay. But this is different. You conduct this in tribal locations, you go to tribal visit locations, and you also try to emulate tribals. You try to look like tribal. You try to be like them. You develop a rapport with them so that they comfortably discuss everything about their culture with you and do not treat you as outsider. Okay. ये एक अलग मेथड होता है, बड़ा ही नेक्स्ट लेवल का मेथड है, इसके ऊपर मैं फिर कभी बात करूंगा. लेट अस अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज मालिनोव्स्की सेइंग ऑन functions of religion, because he is functionalist. Malinowski says when I talk about science and religion, both of them are two different bodies of knowledge, but science helps me to understand things which are certain, definite. Okay, the things which are certain can be understood by science, but the things which are uncertain cannot be explained by science. Uncertain, देखो, certain explained by science, uncertain explained by religion. This is what he talks about on religion. So what is the function of religion? To deal with uncertain. इसको याद रखना है. The function of religion is therefore to deal with uncertain. See, in tribal societies, do they have scientific knowledge? God particle. They have. Shubhangi, मैं बताऊंगा आगे जाकर भी. Tribal people also have scientific knowledge. Tribal people also possess scientific knowledge. Okay, that may not be so sophisticated, recorded, or graphical, or mathematical, but scientific knowledge is scientific. What is the scientific knowledge that they possess? They know in order to produce this crop, we have to give this fertilizer to the soil. ये तो उनको मालूम है. ये भाई उनका तो बेसिक लाइफस्टाइल है. जो बेसिक लाइफस्टाइल उनका है उसके बारे में उनको सारी साइंटिफिक नॉलेज है. यू थिंक कितनी बड़ी बात है. इन ट्राइबल सोसाइटीज दे the basic staple diet is fish. Also fish, they eat lot of fish. Okay, and you cannot hunt fish without boat. बिना बोट के फिश पकड़ लोगे? ऑफ शोर पकड़ लोगे, जो इन शोर है वो नहीं पकड़ पाओगे, जो बड़ी मछलियां होती हैं. ठीक है, यू कैनॉट कैच फिश विदाउट बोट, एंड बोट मेकिंग इज साइंटिफिक आर्ट. एक बात बताओ, उनकी बोट में वो लास्ट में ऐसे कोने क्यों बने हैं? Why do they have this conical end at the end of their boats? They have scientific knowledge. पता है, सब मालूम है वो. In fact, scientists who have developed ship, or to all those scientists, the reference model was that boat constructed by tribals. तभी तो शिप नाम की चीज आई इस दुनिया में, क्योंकि बोट बनाई है किसी ने. Yes. The very concept of that conical end is also very scientific. Air resistance. Okay, they know those things. They may not be knowing the name of these concepts, they may not be knowing the formulas, but they know the application, they know the applied part. Okay, so they have scientific knowledge. But the most important thing which they do not know is the fisherman, my brother fisherman, who has gone to fishing, will he come back? क्या वो लौट कर आएगा फिश करके? क्योंकि तूफान बहुत है. He is not certain about this. He is certain about two things. If I make this kind of boat, it will help me in fishing. If I give these fertilizers to the soils, it will make the crop more productive. But he is not certain about one thing. If my brother goes into the deep shores or into the deep oceans, will he ever return? Because the weather is not good. And when he is waiting for his brother, ready to nahi hai. When he is waiting for his brother is not coming. He starts worrying and then he becomes religious. भगवान कहाँ रह गया वो? So religion helps you deal with uncertain things. The moment you recalled God, you get a sense of peace. चलो ठीक है, भगवान ख्याल रखना, जहाँ पे भी है, जैसा भी है, अच्छा हो. बड़ी फिश लेके आया, अगर इतना टाइम लगा रहे तो बड़ा ही कुछ लेके आए. ठीक है. So religion deals with uncertain. After 5 minutes, he got to know. Umeed. After 5 minutes, he got to know my brother is no more. फिश पकड़ने गया था, फिश ने उसी को पकड़ लिया. ठीक है. अब he's crying like anything. People gather together. Don't worry. यहाँ पे भी क्या है? God will take care of him. Okay. Religion helps or helped the bereaved. Bereaved means someone who lost his dear one. Help the bereaved to get pacified. Religion helped you to overcome death of your close one. ये बोलता है मालिनोव्स्की। एंड डेथ इज ऑल्सो अनसर्टन थिंग। अभी अभी तो गया था, अभी कह रहा था कि मैं लेके आऊंगा फिश, गायब हो गया 5 मिनट में, पता ही चला। भगवान क्या क्या करते हैं ऐसे ऐसे करके, यू नो, रिलीजन डील्स विद अनसर्टन थिंग्स। दिस इज द फंक्शन ऑफ रिलीजन, दिस इज द फंक्शन ऑफ रिलीजन। ओके, चलो ये हो गया खत्म। You are preparing for prelims right now, but everything remains uncertain. There's so much I have to read. साइंस टेक अभी रह गया है, इन्वायरमेंट रह गया यार, साइंस टेक रह गया, इन्वायरमेंट रह गया, क्वालिटी पढ़ रहे हैं तब से। ठीक है, क्या होएगा यार, क्या होएगा। एग्जाम में ओम लिख के आ गए, ओम। ठीक है, रिलीजन हेल्प्स यू डील विद अनसर्टन। चलो अब करते हैं पार्सन्स। Parsons. According to Parsons, where is religion? In which system? Cultural system है, cultural system. ठीक है, when you get a question on Parson, first you have to talk about system. पहले उसके बारे में बात करनी है, सिस्टम के बारे में, कल्चरल सिस्टम। ठीक है, तो रिलीजन इज पार्ट ऑफ कल्चरल सिस्टम। ओके, ठीक है। नाउ लेट अस टॉक अबाउट फंक्शंस ऑफ रिलीजन। दिस इज नॉट फंक्शन ऑफ रिलीजन, ये तो मैंने सिर्फ बताया रिलीजन कहाँ है, इन दैट एजीआईएल पैराडाइम। नाउ वी विल टॉक अबाउट फंक्शन ऑफ रिलीजन। You know this very well that cultural system का function क्या? What is the function of cultural system? It motivates individual, ये मैंने बताया था. Sustains the motivation of individual, बताया था. Third, it also diffuses the tension, बताया था कि नहीं? तीनों बताए थे मैंने. अब religion is part of cultural system, तो religion will do the same things. It motivates individual, sustains the motivation of individuals and diffuse the tension. Okay, देखो, first motivates individual. Motivates the individual. Okay. And sustains the motivation. दोनों एक ही बात है। क्या होता है? Whenever you are feeling loss of confidence, you go to temple. और when you feel anxious, घबराहट बहुत है, मंदिर चले गए, बैठ गए, वहां पे सुकून मिल गया एक। ठीक है, किसी बाबा से मिल लिए, किसी गुरु से मिल लिए, यूट्यूब देख लिया किसी बाबा को, मोटिवेशन मिल गई। मोटिवेशन मिल गई, बाबा मेरा प्रीलिम्स नहीं हो रहा है, समोसा खाओ। समोसा, समोसा खाया था कि नहीं? नहीं बाबा, खाओ इसको, तो खाओ। बाबा समोसा पर कैसे? समोसा ऐसा है कि अनलेस यू ईट समोसा विद ग्रीन चटनी, नहीं होएगा। चटनी भी ग्रीन होनी चाहिए, रेड नहीं। ठीक है बाबा, आज ही समोसे खाता हूं और कल से मैं दुकान खोलता हूं समोसे की। हो गया, मोटिवेशन मिल गया। जय श्री राम बोल दिया, एकदम जय श्री राम बोलते ही एकदम पावर आती है। ठीक है, जय श्री राम, पार्टी बदल गई जय श्री राम बोलते ही, पावर चेंज हो जाती है जय श्री राम बोलते ही। ठीक है, सुबह उठते हैं, मॉर्निंग वॉक करने के लिए निकले, मॉर्निंग वॉक, जय श्री राम, हाँ जय श्री राम। कैलोरीज ऐसे थोड़ा ना कैलोरीज बर्न हो रही है, बस बोलना है जय श्री राम, हाँ जय श्री राम। अच्छा, सुबह सुबह राम का नाम लो तो बड़ा अच्छा लगता है ना? हाँ हाँ हाँ, चाय पीजिए आप, बात शुरू हो गई आपस में। ठीक है, motivates the individual and also remember diffuses the tension. Very much like Malinowski. Malinowski is telling us religion helps in dealing with uncertain things. तो वही चीज है, वही बता रहे हैं, अनसर्टन चीजों में ही आपको मोटिवेशन चाहिए होती है, एंड यू वांट टू डिफ्यूज द टेंशन. Basically, remember one line that Talcott Parson has made, which is also a very popular line. He says, religion is a tonic of self-confidence. ये उसका लाइन है, religion is a tonic of self-confidence. Tonic of self-confidence. इंटीग्रेशन इन सोशल सिस्टम, यस, हाँ, बट लार्जली ना उसको कल्चर सिस्टम ही रखना. That we know that yes, religion also has integrative functions. Okay, we know this. We can also write this in fact. Okay, but ध्यान रखना, मेनली इट इज इन द कल्चरल सिस्टम. मेनली पूछा जाएगा, अगर किसी एक सिस्टम को पूछा जाए तो यू हैव टू डिस्कस कल्चरल सिस्टम. ओके, so you can also write it plays integrative role, integration function, exactly on the lines of Emil Durkheim, integration function. Okay, so these are the functions of religion. हो गया, Talcott Parson. Now remember, other than these three, one more function is there. क्योंकि now we are explicitly studying topic on religion, so of course I'll have to explain some more things as well which you do not know. Religion also is a system that gives us values. Generalization of values, if you remember Talcott Parson, a concept that was given by Talcott Parson, generalization of values, it is actually religion which is infusing values and morality amongst all of us. Just like on the lines of Emil Durkheim, he's saying religion socializes individuals into moral beings. हम लोग मॉरल क्यों बनते हैं? रिलीजन की वजह से. तो रिलीजन हमें मॉरल बनाता है, तो सोसाइटी में मॉरलिटी क्रिएट करता है. और इसका फायदा क्या होता है? इसका फायदा क्या है? बड़ा सिंपल फायदा मैं आपको बताता हूं. पहले फोर्थ फंक्शन लिख लेते हैं. इट इन्फ्यूजेस morality and socializes the young into moral order of society. अच्छा, व्हाट इज द फंक्शन ऑफ दिस मोरालिटी? क्या होता है इससे? मैं तुम्हें बताता हूं, इससे बहुत कुछ होता है. सपोज यू टेक अ राइड auto ride, okay, from one place to another place, and auto wala has told you that he will take 100 rupees for this much of trip, okay, and you agreed to it, okay, no issue, okay. The trip ends. Now is the time to pay the amount. Now, by chance, out of by chance, by mistake, in fact, instead of 100 rupee note, you gave him 200 rupee note. You did not give so much of. You did not notice this, in fact, okay, because you are very new to these new colors. You do not know the difference between colors of 100 और 200 के नोट जो कलर है उसको भी समझ रहे हो. गलती से 200 का चले गया. By chance, you gave him 200 rupees and you went back to your place wherever you were going to go. Okay. And then auto wala comes in. साहब ये आपका 200 जो है आपने दिया था 100 रुपए तो वापस ले लो. नहीं ईमानदार लोग हैं. हाँ हाँ है, हम हैं. आप 100 रुपए लो. अच्छा बट ये आया कहाँ से? What is the origin? Why did he come out from his auto and gave me 100 rupee note? He followed me all throughout and handed me over the 100 rupee note. Only because of religion. He was a moral person. The morality that we take for granted is coming from religion. Drive कर रहे हो आप road पे. You're driving on the road. By chance you saw a small little puppy. छोटा बच्चा कुत्ते का. ठीक है. रोक दी आपने गाड़ी. Okay. You stopped your car. And then you came out of your car, picked it up, ठीक है, और अपनी कार में उसको रख लिया. ठीक है, इसका नाम टॉमी है आज से. But the very idea of animal rights is coming from religion. Animal rights. इसका सोर्स क्या है? साइंस है क्या इसका सोर्स? हाँ, साइंस से आया है क्या एनिमल राइट्स? रिलीजन से आया है. You are waiting for a red light to get green. Meanwhile, you saw 3-4 people knocking on your door. आप कुछ दे दो, कुछ दे दो. 10 seconds are left now. कुछ दिया नहीं अभी तक. 5 सेकंड रह गए हैं. दे दे यार इसको कुछ. दे दिया. कहाँ से आएगी? Empathy is coming from religion. It is religion which has taught us everything. To be empathetic to people. To be concerned about lives of animals. The morality. कहाँ से? And it is not just morality. Every action that we do in our life, even economic actions, are governed by religion. Even economic actions are governed by religion. इसको ध्यान रखना. Economic actions are governed by religion. Okay. How? Before presenting budget in parliament, what happens? We do halwa ceremony. Halwa. Does anyone know it? किसी को मालूम है ये चीज? तुम्हें मालूम है? हलवा सेरेमनी. हाँ. Why do we do it? शांति से बजट निकले, सब अप्रूव करें. Religion drives economic action also. अरे religion drives scientific expeditions also. When Chandrayaan was launched, right after the launch of before launch of Chandrayaan, the director of ISRO visited Lord Jagannath. साइंटिस्ट जा रहा है मंदिर में कि चंद्रयान ठीक से हो जाए, मिशन सक्सेसफुल रह जाए. In fact, the very name of scientific expeditions sometimes are coming from religion. मंगलयान, ये सब टैलकट पार्सन में लिखोगे, ठीक है? आगे भी लिख सकते हो, आगे कई जगह। तिरुपति, हाँ, तिरुपति गया था शायद, वो जगन्नाथ गया था, तिरुपति का मेरे को यही ध्यान नहीं, तिरुपति गया होगा शायद, ठीक है, ओके। जो भी पास पढ़ रहा हो उसके वहां चले गया होगा। नाउ अब क्या है अपना ये मार्क्सिस्ट थ्योरी। Marxist theory of religion. First we'll take a break, 5 minutes break, ठीक है, then we'll continue. आसान है ये टॉपिक सारे, देखो तुम्हें क्योंकि ऑलरेडी पता है, फटाफट तुम रिलेट करोगे, बस खत्म हो जाएंगे ये सारे टॉपिक्स। ओके, let us understand Marxist theory. अच्छा, by the way, when Talcott Parson tells us that religion is the source of economic action, budget presentation, or any other economic expertise, Jajmani system, economic relation between castes was based on religious order. Islamic banking, the concept of Islamic banking is coming from what? Religion. The concept of charity, donations, NGO is coming from what? Religion. The concept of corporate social responsibility is coming from religion. Why should they be giving their revenues to poor people? अरे इन सबका morality का जो concept कहाँ से आ रहा है? Religion से आ रहा है. But when Talcott Parson is talking about these things, what is the origin of Talcott Parson's idea of economic action being driven by religion? Max Weber. Max Weber. Because it was Max Weber who was instrumental in talking about how economic changes are the result of religious ideas. Capitalism कहाँ से आया? Religion से. And Talcott Parson is the one who translated Max Weber German writing into English and was also influenced by. तो ये चीज उसने मैक्स वेबर से ली है. ओके, चलो, मार्क्सिस्ट थ्योरी ऑफ रिलीजन. Very simple. Where is religion according to Marx? In the superstructure. पहले तो हमको ये लिखना है, religion is in the superstructure. And क्योंकि religion superstructure में है, तो क्या करेगा वो? It will justify conditions of economic base. Therefore, क्या लिखेंगे? Religion legitimizes the illegitimate social order. इलेजिटिमेट सोशल ऑर्डर को लेजिटिमाइज कर देता है. ठीक है. व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ इलेजिटिमेट सोशल ऑर्डर? अरे वी हैव सो मेनी पुअर पीपल इन इंडिया, ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड. आउट ऑफ 8 बिलियन पीपल इन द वर्ल्ड, 6 बिलियन आर पुअर. 5 बिलियन इतने तो पुअर है ही. थर्ड वर्ल्ड क्यों है? क्योंकि पुअर है. थर्ड वर्ल्ड ही मैक्सिमम पॉपुलेशन वाला है. ओके, बट रिलीजन इज legitimizing the illegitimate order. What is illegitimate order? That we have so many poor. But this poverty is justified in the name of religion. How is it justified in the name of religion? Religion एक ऐसी चीज है which creates virtue out of suffering. किसी की सफरिंग से वर्च्यू निकालता है वो. अरे तुम गरीब हो, खुशकिस्मत हो, खुशकिस्मत हो, गरीब हो अगर, ठीक है. God is testing you. You are the chosen one. God is testing you. If you do hard work in this birth, and we have rebirth also, so in the next birth you will born as rich man. देख लेना. Complete your obligations, complete your duty, fulfill your dharma. Ultimately you will become a rich person. Okay. You will be promised better life in the heaven if you do your duty here on the earth. Think about women. A woman who is suffering, but her suffering, out of her suffering, a virtue is created. If you take care of your husband and fulfill all your duties towards your husband, सीधा मां सरस्वती तुम्हें नीचे आकर सितार बजाना सिखाएगी. ठीक है. और टिकट देगी तुम्हें हेवन का. धर्म पत्नी हो तुम, धर्म पत्नी, लक्ष्मी हो, लक्ष्मी. ओके. एज अ लक्ष्मी यू कैन नॉट बी सो वोकल. चुपचाप रहो, लक्ष्मी हो घर की. ठीक है. अच्छा ठीक है, लक्ष्मी हो, ठीक है. सफरिंग से वर्च्यू निकाल दिया. लक्ष्मी हो तुम तो यार. गरीब को देखो क्या करते हैं हम. गरीब को वी कॉल देम हरिजन्स. अरे यू आर चिल्ड्रन ऑफ गॉड. ये गरीब के साथ हमने ये किया है. जो ऑप्रेस्ड लोग हैं, वी लेबल देम एज हरिजन्स. भगवान के बच्चे हो तुम. Who labeled the marginalized community or caste as Harijans? ये कहाँ बापूजी कहाँ से आ गए इसमें? ये सब गलत पढ़ते हैं क्या एकदम? अरे यार तुम लोग क्या कर रहे हो? अरे गांधी पॉपुलराइज्ड इट. इट वाज नरसिंह मेहता. नरसिंह मेहता. फूले कहाँ से आ गया? फूले ने तो दलित बोला था. नरसिंह मेहता कॉइंड द वर्ड हरिजन. गांधी पॉपुलराइज्ड इट. गांधी ने पॉपुलर किया उसको. नरसिंह मेहता ने कॉइन किया है. Look at the condition of disabled. What does religion do? We call them दिव्यांग. दिव्यांग हो तुम, दिव्यांग, दिव्य अंग हो. डिसेबल्ड थोड़ा ना हो तुम, दिव्य अंग हो तुम. हाँ और क्या. अब ये दिव्यांग बोल बोलकर जो सफरिंग है उससे वर्च्यू निकाल दिया. खुशकिस्मत हो तुम. सीधा यू आर डिवाइन पार्ट. दिव्य अंग, दिव्यांग. ये पता है कि नहीं पता है? डू यू नो दिस और नॉट? कि डिसेबल्ड को दिव्यांग बोलते हैं अब. ओके. अच्छा नहीं पता तो याद कर लेना. डिसेबल्ड आर नाउ कॉल्ड एज दिव्यांग. दे आर नॉट कॉल्ड एज डिसेबल्ड. In government policies, they are now labeled as divyang. Okay. Legitimizing the illegitimate. Social order. Creating virtue out of someone's suffering. किसी की suffering से आप virtue निकाल रहे हो. And what will happen if you label the disabled as divyang? If you label the scheduled caste as harijans, if you label the suffering of women as being part of duty that she has to fulfill in order to go to heaven, you are preventing revolution. रोक रहे हो रेवोल्यूशन को. ये तरीके हैं, ऐसे बोल बोल के उनको अच्छा फील करा दिया. वो तुम्हारे अगेंस्ट कभी रिवोल्ट लाएंगे ही नहीं. क्या थिंकिंग है मार्क्स की, देख रहे हो तुम? अलग सोचता है एकदम मार्केट से. कर्म योगी, यस यस. सो we will write first, we have written legitimizes the illegitimate social order. Second, creates virtue out of suffering. And third, opiates the masses. Opiates the masses. This is very important. Opiates the masses. Opiates. Opiates. Why did he use this word? Opium. बताता हूं. You know what does opium do? When you consume opium, what happens? You are no longer in your consciousness. अलग ट्रांस में हो, ट्रांस गाना चलाओ, एक ट्रांस म्यूजिक. ये होता है हमारे साथ, ठीक है, अलग जोन में हो. So when you consume opium, your consciousness is nullified. खुद की थिंकिंग कैपेसिटी खत्म हो जाती है. किसी को जिसने ओपियम कंज्यूम किया हो, someone who has consumed opium, if you hand him over rat killing medicine and say that this is gems, वो खा लेगा ये सोच के कि हाँ ये रैट, ये जो जेम्स है ये, उसको इतना भी ध्यान नहीं है बेवकूफ आदमी को, और उसको मजा भी आएगा और वो बोलेगा हाँ यार क्या टेस्टी है. अब वो कॉन्शियसनेस होता फुल कॉन्शियस उसमें स्टेट में तो वो कभी नहीं खाता उसको, लेकिन उसमें वो कुछ भी कर लेगा. Therefore, religion यही करता है. This is what religion does. It nullifies your consciousness. तुम्हारी खुद की सोचने की क्षमता खत्म हो जाती है religion से. It nullifies the consciousness. इसलिए he says it opiates the masses, and therefore he said religion is opium of the masses. It prevents revolutionary consciousness. Revolution कभी लाएंगे नहीं. Keeps them away from revolting is. ठीक है. So this is what you have to mention. इतना आपको मेंशन करना है, ये जो 3 पॉइंट है, ठीक है. बाकी सब इसके आसपास ही घूमते हैं. All other points are very much like this only. There is no difference, not much of a difference. In conclusion, what we can say, religion maintains the order or brings change. Religion maintains the system or brings change. It maintains the system in favor of dominant section. It always maintains the system in favor of dominant section. Okay. The whole caste structure is the making of religion. Why Shudra accepted their position as the fourth or the lowermost Varna, subject to the whims and fancies of the upper Varna, is only because of religion. They have accepted this order as legitimate, but it is illegitimate. This is what Ambedkar said. That ये ब्राह्मण्स लोगों ने इनकी कॉन्शियसनेस बर्बाद कर दी है. जब तक ब्राह्मण्स हैं तब तक इंडिया में बर्बादी है. इसलिए अगर इंडिया में डेमोक्रेसी लानी है, पहले ब्राह्मण्स को हटाओ, तब डेमोक्रेसी आएगी. ब्राह्मण्स को कैसे हटाएं? कैसे हटाएंगे? तो पैदा होते ही, हटाएं कैसे? He said, if you want to become Brahmin, you will have to give exam. ये उसका recommendation है. Nobody will be Brahmin by birth. State will conduct examination. मजाक की बात नहीं है, चेक कर लेना। और वो अच्छा रिफॉर्म है, इनफैक्ट क्यों नहीं आया उसके रीजन मैं बताऊंगा आगे जाकर। In order to become Brahmin, you will have to give exam. Okay, and that also means if you pass an exam, even if you are Dalit, you can become Brahmin. जो पास हो गए हैं अगर वो दलित हैं तो भी वो ब्राह्मण बन सकते हैं, क्या बात है। ब्राह्मण बनना एग्जाम से होएगा, मेरिट बेस्ड रहेगा, क्योंकि जब आप बाय बर्थ ब्राह्मण बन जाते हो ना, बाय बर्थ यू बिकम सुपीरियर और यू क्लेम सुपीरियोरिटी। तो क्लेम कर ही ना पाओ तो ब्राह्मण का सर्टिफिकेट तुम्हें लेना पड़ेगा एग्जाम देकर, उसके बाद दलित भी ब्राह्मण बन सकते। ये अंबेडकर का है रिकमेंडेशन, अंबेडकर का खुद, B.R. अंबेडकर। ओके, राम मनोहर लोहिया ने भी बहुत रिकमेंडेशंस दिए हैं। राम मनोहर लोहिया हैज गिवन एक्चुअली द बेस्ट रिकमेंडेशन टू रिमूव कास्ट सिस्टम। कास्ट सिस्टम रिमूव ऐसे नहीं होता है कि आपने क्या कर दिया, क्या कहते हैं, कास्ट सिस्टम कोई आपसे पूछे इन पर्सनैलिटी टेस्ट, हाउ डू वी एंड कास्ट सिस्टम, क्या बोलोगे? वहां पे ये थोड़ा ना बोलेंगे बर्न दी शास्त्रास, ये थोड़ा ना बोल देंगे। To remove caste system, first we have to understand how caste operates in everyday life. You will understand caste operates through interpersonal interaction in our everyday life, and how it operates in interpersonal interaction. When you see a person called as Aman Chaturvedi or Aman Srivastava talking to a person who is not Trivedi, Chaturvedi, Dvivedi or Bedi or nothing. Okay. And when he gets to know that ये दूसरी कास्ट का, ये वो कास्ट का नहीं है, वहां यू विल ऑटोमेटिकली कम टू नो कास्ट कैसे ऑपरेट होता है। सिर्फ नाम से ही, इंटर टाइम तो बहुत दूर की बात है, पहले नाम पे आओ। राम मनोहर लोहिया सेड that this practice that we do, writing last name, हर एग्जाम में तुम लास्ट नेम लिखते हो कि नहीं अपना? फुल नेम लिखते हो ना? क्यों लिखते हो फुल नेम? आइडेंटिटी तो फर्स्ट नेम से भी आ जाती है। फुल नेम क्यों लिखते हो मुझे ये बताओ? आइडेंटिटी तो फर्स्ट नेम से भी आ जाएगी। अब तुम बोलोगे मैं फुल नेम लिखूंगा राहुल सिंह, क्योंकि राहुल तो बहुत है, तो राहुल सिंह भी बहुत है, आइडेंटिटी तो तब भी नहीं आएगी। वाई डू वी राइट फुल नेम? फैमिली नहीं होता कुछ भी। राइटिंग फुल नेम, when you write full name you exercise your caste. The moment you write full name you have already started practicing caste. Caste is not only about interdining, वो तो बहुत दूर की बात है कि भाई बैठोगे या नहीं बैठोगे तो पता नहीं कब बैठेंगे भी नहीं, पता भी नहीं चलेगा कि कौन सी कास्ट का था कौन का नहीं। जब आप नाम लिखते हो वहीं पे कास्ट आ जाती है आपकी। जब आप अपने नाम लिखते हो ना अपना, अमन अग्रवाल IAS डायरी में लिखते हो, ठीक है, कास्ट आ गई, लोग बोलना शुरू कर देंगे ओह, उसी नाम से फिर आपको जाना जाता है अग्रवाल, ठीक है, बनिया, जो भी है। तो पहले नाम की प्रैक्टिस हटाओ, ये राम मनोहर लोहिया बोलते हैं, प्रैक्टिकल रिकमेंडेशन है। और ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अभी अभी बोला है यूपीएससी को, सॉरी, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ सोशल जस्टिस हैज रिसेंटली टोल्ड दिस टू यूपीएससी। कास्ट का जो लेटर है वो मेंशन नहीं रहना चाहिए पर्सनालिटी टेस्ट में, ठीक है, ताकि नाम पता ही ना चले। नाम पता ही नहीं चलेगा डिस्क्रिमिनेशन कैसे होएगा? तो पहले तो नाम, ये राम मनोहर लोहिया से आया है। Anyhow, so This was all about Marxist theory of religion. Okay, opiates the masses, nullifies the consciousness, prevents the revolution, and legitimizes the illegitimate. Fifth, maintains the status quo. 5 points. ठीक है, फिफ्थ मेंटेन्स द स्टेटस को. ये आपको दिख रहा है. लेनिन, who was also Marxist, he called religion as spiritual jinn. जिन पता है ना, जीनी जो होते हैं, जिन, स्पिरिचुअल जिन है ये. लेनिन called religion as spiritual jinn. क्योंकि द मोमेंट यू कंज्यूम रिलीजन, मोमेंट जैसे ही कंज्यूम करते हो रिलीजन, आपको लगता है आपके सारे दुख दर्द खत्म हो गए, आपकी सारी विश पूरी हो जाएंगी. और जिन यही करते हैं, जिन यही बोलते हैं, हुक्म करो मेरे आका. और आपको लगता है आपकी सारी तमन्नाएं पूरी. अब जब करते हो, भगवान मुझे पास करा दो यूपीएससी में, भगवान मेरे को करोड़पति बना दो एक ही दिन में, ये सब आप क्या कर रहे हो? स्पिरिचुअल जिन है. This practice is followed in Tamil Nadu, sir. Which practice, Prakash Raghavan? Acha. Oh, nice. That's really nice. It's practice in Tamil Nadu, not following surnames, right? Very nice. Tamil Nadu is really a nice place. My father was posted in Chennai for 2 years. It was a really nice place. I'm not able to recall some of the names. Ernakulam and many other beaches we had gone to. बहुत प्यारा पूरा तमिलनाडु. वहाँ से हम केरला भी गए थे. And I remember the road from, generally we see that the road from Mumbai to Goa is very famous, but the road from Chennai to Pondicherry is even more special. Chennai to Pondicherry road is nothing like, in fact, you would not see any road even in Europe like that. When you travel in that road, it feels like you are in France or in Europe. इतना यूरोपियन फील आती है, पूरा इतना इतना क्लासी बना है वो. ईस्ट कोस्ट, यस. मेरा बड़ा मन है वहां जाने का भी. अभी ये बैच खत्म करके फिर मैं जाऊंगा एक बार. So this was Marxist theory. Now let us understand neo-Marxist. Neo-Marxist theory. In neo-Marxist, we will read two people, Antonio Gramsci and Otto Maduro. Antonio Gramsci Otto Maduro. These are neo-Marxist scholars. Okay. What is special about neo-Marxism? Remember, neo-Marxism is not one school. There are multiple types of neo-Marxist. Okay. Multiple types of neo-Marxist are there. But their line of thought is very much Marxian. They analyze the world in terms of base and superstructure only. Some neo-Marxists give weightage to superstructure more than base. Some neo-Marxists give weightage more to economic base only, just like Marx, than to superstructure. Okay. Some talk about two-way relationship between these two. Some kind of neo-Marxists are those who say superstructure justifies economic base justifies superstructure. Both way. Okay. So you would see some of the neo-Marxists, although see, Remember this one thing, you do not have to read difference between Marxism and New Marxism. That is not our concern. Okay, that is not what we read in sociology. What we should learn is not the meaning of New Marxism. What we should learn is the categories of New Marxism, because there is no one meaning of New Marxism. If you want to really understand the meaning of New Marxism, simply understand it is newer interpretation of Marxism. New interpretation of Marxism. That's it. Nothing else you have to understand. Okay, other than this. UPSC would not ask you question of difference between these. No university would ask you such questions. Okay, let alone UPSC. Acha. So remember, the special thing about neo-Marxist is they talk about dual character of religion. Dual character of religion. Okay, what is the meaning of dual character? Let us try to understand. If you study religion from Marxist perspective, we only get to see mono character or single character of religion, and that is to justify illegitimate. यही हमें दिखता है. But the moment you study religion from New Marxist, you see religion not always justifying poor or poverty. Religion also is helping poor. Okay, ये ध्यान रखना है. So dual character means religion helping rich or to maintain the order in favor of rich, and second, religion helping the poor to free themselves from the rich. Both these things are done by religion. It is not only one thing that is done by religion, which Marx tells us. Okay. So basically, what is neo-Marxist theory telling us? It is telling us that religion maintains status quo, agreed, but religion also brings in social change. Understood? Difference clear? According to Marx, religion only maintains the system. But to neo-Marxists, religion also changed the system, not just maintains. Dual character. Okay. Now, let us try to understand how it happens. See, Gandhi labeled the scheduled caste as Harijans. Okay. Label was coined by Narsi Mehta, popularized by Gandhi. Gandhi popularized it, called them Harijans. So when I read Gandhi only this much, then I see Marxist theory of religion being applicable highly, justifying the poverty in the name of religion, creating suffering, creating virtue out of suffering. But then after some point of time, I read next page on Gandhi, and then I see that Gandhi also used principles of non-violence and satyagraha and self-renunciation to mobilize the people and bring forward independence, social change. एक बात बताओ, the concept of non-violence, satyagraha, self-renunciation is coming from where? रिलीजन से आ रहा है. सब रिलीजन से आया है. ये थोड़ा ना उसने कुछ इन्वेंट किया है. उसने कुछ इन्वेंट नहीं किया था गांधी ने, सब कॉपी किया है उसने. In language of Marx, it is the practice of praxis. It is known as praxis. That means action. Okay. Concept of non-violence borrowed from Jainism. Self-renunciation, Jainism. Satyagraha, Buddhism. Buddhism also talks about Satya, truth. Okay. And he has also talked about multiple paths to know the truth. When Gandhi is using all these principles to mobilize the masses, these are those things which actually help people to integrate with each other and to manifest a protest against British in a very unique fashion that was not violent at all. And Britishers were helpless. इसका करे तो करे क्या, आखिर बोले तो बोले क्या, ये सोच रहे थे ब्रिटिशर्स. ना इसको मार सकते, बंद करेंगे तो पता नहीं क्या होएगा. बंद कर भी नहीं सकते इसको क्योंकि कुछ अनलॉफुल भी नहीं कर रहा है आदमी. And this thing actually helped in success of many social movements that Gandhi led. Right from Champaran Satyagraha till Quit India movement, which actually turned violent. But before that, everything that all these social movements we had were based on non-violence, Satyagraha, self-renunciation. In fact, the very idea of fasting, khana na khana, fasting is coming from religion. He has used all religious ideas to mobilize the people against Britishers. And Britishers ruled India on the basis of same religion. Britishers ruled India on the basis of same religion only, by dividing into Hindu and Muslim lines. So Britishers used religion to divide the people. Gandhi used religion to unite the people. Therefore, religion has dual character. It integrates, it also breaks and divides. Marx would support only first what Britishers did, and we accepted it. अब तुम देखो ग्रामसी का कमाल. Gramsci says, in society, what happens is we have superstructure and we have infrastructure, just like Marx. In superstructure, we have religion. Okay. But instead of Marxian labels like superstructure, infrastructure, he is not following those labels. He actually has invented his own labels. What are those labels? Instead of superstructure, Gramsci calls it civil society. Civil society. Instead of क्या कहते हैं infrastructure, he calls it political society. क्या बात है Gramsci की. Later on, there is one scholar in India, Indian sociologist, very popular one, बहुत ही बड़ा आदमी है. His name is Partha Chatterjee. Partha Chatterjee, Bengali है. Partha Chatterjee is also a Marxist scholar. Okay. Partha Chatterjee has used these labels to analyze Indian society, political society, civil society. ये आगे जाके आपको पता चलेगा, बट ये सब ग्रामसी से है, ठीक है. Gramsci says only one thing: civil society, just like Marx, he's saying, but instead of superstructure, he's using these words. Gramsci says that whatever we have in superstructure, civil society, those ideas are made common sense to the people. Those things, whatever we have in superstructure, is made common sense to the people. We have religion in superstructure or civil society. Okay. So religion will be made common sense to the people. For example, Hindu will believe, yes, Muslims ऐसे ही होते हैं. Muslim will believe, yes, Hindu ऐसे ही होते हैं. But this belief actually came from Britishers. But अब उन्होंने क्या कर लिया, मान लिया ऐसा होता है. हुआ है कि नहीं? जल्दी बोल दो, टाइम नहीं है. हुआ है. This division is created by Britishers, but today we have accepted it as common sense. तो क्या है शिवांगी? वो क्या है, जल्दी बताओ, टाइम नहीं है. I don't accept it, does not matter शिवांगी, if you don't accept it. ये तो फैक्ट है ना. The Hindu Muslim divide. एक बात बताओ, before Hindu Muslim divide, did we have nation state? The very conception of state, nation, we did not have. It came only after this division. The partition actually resulted into independence, and partition was on religious lines. So it is a fact. इसमें क्या है बात ना एक्सेप्ट करने की? Today we accept this thing as common sense. Okay. That we are naturally different from one another. But this thing was actually creation of Britishers. Today we have accepted we are naturally different from one another. Okay. See, हाँ, मैं समझ गया शायद तुम वो कह रहे हो कि मैं एक्सेप्ट नहीं करता हूँ कि मुस्लिम हमसे अलग होते हैं, भाई भाई हैं. ओके, अच्छा मैं समझ गया तुम वैसे वाला कह रहे हो. वो बात नहीं चल रही यहाँ पे, वो इंडिविजुअल डिफरेंस की बात नहीं चल रही. कम्युनिटी वाइज देखो, कम्युनिटी वाइज. ओके, कम्युनिटी सेंटिमेंट्स को देखो, वो तो है. इंडिविजुअल तो जो पढ़े लिखे हैं उनकी बात ही नहीं चल रही यहाँ पे. ठीक है. And this is known as cultural hegemony. Remember this word. Cultural hegemony. When you accept the dominant ideas, write down. When you accept dominant ideas of the dominant sections, when you accept dominant ideas of dominant sections as common sense, when you accept dominant ideas of dominant sections as common sense, this is what Gramsci regard as cultural hegemony. This is what Gramsci regards as cultural hegemony. Okay. चलो, ये तो हमने समझ लिया. और इससे हमें क्या समझ आया? रूलिंग क्लास जैसे मार्क्स बोलता है, किसी को रूल करना है, द रूलिंग क्लास विल बी द वन हु ओन द मीन्स ऑफ प्रोडक्शन. Here the fact is Ruling class did not become dominant because they are owners of means of production. They become dominant. They became dominant only because of some ideas which they made common sense amongst us. The ideas of divide and that's how they gain dominance. With these ideas, simply by being owner of the industry, you are not going to do anything unless you also act on such ideas that can sustain your domination. Understood or not? This is how he is different from Marx. मार्क्स बस इतना बोल के निकल जाता है, फैक्ट्री खरीद लोगे, मालिक हो फैक्ट्री के, खूब एक्सप्लॉइटेशन करोगे, खूब पैसा कमाओगे. ये बोलता है ऐसे नहीं होता है. डोमिनेशन इसको नहीं बोलते. डोमिनेशन के लिए इसके आगे और कई चीजें होती हैं जो करनी पड़ती हैं. और हो सकता है जो फैक्ट्री का मालिक ना हो, इंडस्ट्री का ओनर ना हो, लैंड का मालिक ना हो, वो भी डोमिनेट कर जाए, क्योंकि he is making those ideas common sense which are actually the ideas of dominant section, and he is making those ideas common sense amongst the masses. ये होता है, हर रोज की लाइफ में होता है ये. हाँ, वो तो only Britishers can help Indians live happily with each other. ये कह भी सकते हैं, नहीं बाकी की बात है, ऐसा कभी होता है कि नहीं होता है. क्या बोल रहा था मैं? ठीक है. सो दिस वाज कल्चरल हेजेमनी. ओके. और ये हर रोज की लाइफ में होता है हमारे. यूट्यूब, सोशल मीडिया में जो हम लोगों को सुनते हैं, वी स्टार्ट एक्सेप्टिंग इट एज कॉमन सेंस. वी टेक इट एज ऑन फेस वैल्यू. हम मान लेते हैं जो हमने किसी का सुना सोशल मीडिया पे, मान लेते हैं उसको, फटाफट वायरल कर देते हैं, व्हाट्सएप पे फॉरवर्ड कर देते हैं. और इसी तरीके से जो डोमिनेंट सेक्शंस के आइडियाज हैं वो सोसाइटी में स्प्रेड होते जाते हैं. लॉकडाउन के टाइम क्या हुआ था? ड्यूरिंग लॉकडाउन व्हाट हैपेंड? अ पिक्चर वाज स्प्रेड ऑन इंटरनेट or a video, something like that, or some text was spread that some Muslim Swiggy driver has you know what do you say, spit on the food. Okay. और हमने मान लिया हमने फटाफट माना, जल्दी जल्दी माना, हमने टाइम नहीं लगाया मानने में, क्योंकि मुस्लिम है, हाँ ये कर सकते हैं, इन्होंने ऐसा किया भी है, ये तो करना चाहते हैं, ये तो फैलाना चाहते ही हैं, तो हम फैला रहे हैं साथ साथ में, वो भी फैल रहे हैं साथ साथ में, हम भी वायरस ही फैला रहे थे. ठीक है. सो वी एक्सेप्टेड द डोमिनेंट आइडियाज एज कॉमन सेंस, एंड दीज आर डोमिनेंट आइडियाज. इसको कौन स्प्रेड करता है मालूम है तुम्हें? यू एज अ स्टूडेंट ऑफ सोशियोलॉजी कैन नॉट से इसको एक लीडर करता है या कोई लीडर का एसोसिएट करता है, उसका नाम है प्रकाश समथिंग, ऐसा कुछ नहीं बोल सकते आप. इसको आपको बड़ा न्यूट्रली मैं आपको सिखाऊंगा वो सब चीज भी कैसे करनी है इसको, बट आप इतना समझो बस कल्चर हेजेमनी क्या है, बस बात खत्म हो गई. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट, ग्रामसी सेज कल्चरल हेजेमनी तक बात खत्म होती नहीं है. ग्रामसी सेज a point comes when Britishers came, in order to establish their dominance, they divided India on the lines of Hindu-Muslim rule. Okay. And we accepted it as common sense. Therefore, we were culturally hegemonized. But it's not that easy. Gramsci says, once domination is established, after some point of time, we would see, and here he is borrowing a lot from Max Weber. He says that after some point of time comes organic intellectuals, exactly on the lines of charismatic authority. Okay. Organic intellectuals come. Organic intellectuals, he labeled them as organic, iska term hai ye. Organic intellectuals are those who have the capacity to think or to seek beyond what is given to them. उसके beyond सोचना, ये क्यों हो रहा है, वो होते हैं organic intellectuals. who do not simply passively accept, हाँ इन्होंने किया होगा, खाने में थूक डाला होगा इनको, वो सोचते हैं कि कौन करवा रहा है ये मैसेज वायरल। ठीक है, क्रिटिकली रीज जिसको कहते हैं क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग, सोचना खुद से भी। ठीक है, दोज आर ऑर्गेनिक इंटेलेक्चुअल्स। एंड ग्रामसी सेज once domination is established, organic intellectuals will come, and organic intellectuals will reveal the ideology, the fake, the false ideology, which we have accepted as common sense. And that's how a new kind of society will come forward. This is what Gramsci says. And Gandhi came. Gandhi आया, उसने बताया कि हिंदू मुस्लिम कुछ नहीं होता है, ईश्वर अल्लाह तेरो नाम सबको सन्मति दे भगवान। ये उसने क्यों बोला? क्यों बोला उसने ये? Only to tell us that there is no difference between Hindu Muslim. These are falsely created by Britishers to divide us. Okay. And then people actually started believing him. But then, by then, it was too late. There were some people who had so much accepted this Hindu-Muslim division as real that they even decided to kill Gandhi when Gandhi talked about unity of these people. And that shows the extent to which people gets culturally hegemonized. समझ रहे हो तुम? इसलिए गांधी के असैसिनेशन के पीछे जो हथियारा है, ये बात सिर्फ उसकी नहीं है। दिस बात इज अबाउट आइडियोलॉजी, the ideology that he belongs to, and who are the makers of those ideology. Therefore, we never assassinated the assassin of Gandhi. We only assassinated a person labeled as assassin of Gandhi. Okay. हाँ, वो तो अलग चीज है। फेयरनेस तो ठीक है, ब्यूटी प्रोडक्ट्स उसी बात की चीज का फेयरनेस की बात करो ना, दूसरा फेयरनेस बोल रहे हो। Okay, so remember, organic intellectuals are those people who forward counter hegemony. This is known as counter hegemony. Gandhi countered the hegemony. That is why it is known as counter hegemony by Gandhi. Countered the hegemony of Britishers by trying to unite Hindu Muslims. और तब ब्रिटिशर्स को लगा हमारा प्लान गड़बड़ हो रहा है। समझ गए? एंड अंबेडकर बोलता है, अंबेडकर सेज, the people who divided us into Hindu Muslims, you call them colonial, but the people who divided the Hindus themselves, you call them nationalist. ये कौन सी बात है? क्या बात है अंबेडकर की भी? Yesterday we were ruled by a colonialist. Today we are ruled by upper caste. Is India free? बाकी कल करेंगे, ठीक है? Any doubt? Third gender is not considered in the society, but their blessings are considered pure because of Lord Krishna's is also cultural hegemony. नहीं, थोड़ा सा बहुत ही फारफेच्ड आइडिया हो जाएगा ये, अभी मत जाओ उस पर, अभी मत जाओ उस पर। डोमिनेंट आइडियाज कॉमन सेंस कैसे बनते हैं, ठीक है? इसको जब आप अप्लाई करते हो दुनिया में हर एक चीज में, एक डोमिनेंट आइडिया हमारे दिमाग में, अगर आप उसी लाइन में कह रहे हो, शायद जो मैं समझाऊं आपके कमेंट से, शायद आप वही कह रहे हो, एक डोमिनेंट आइडिया हमारे दिमाग में है लड़का लड़की जेंडर का, right? A dominant idea that we have accepted as common sense. Yes, there are only two people in the world, male and female. Have we not accepted it? Yes, we have accepted it. But do you know this dominant idea is created by religion? Christianity. Christianity talked about Adam and Eve. कोई और की बात नहीं करी. एक एडम होता है, एक ईव होता है, और कुछ नहीं होता है. Confucianism, Taoism talks about yin and yang. एक yin होता है, एक yang होता है, और कुछ नहीं होता है. ये भी रिलीजन से आया है. ओके, इसके ऊपर मैं बताऊंगा. क्वियर थ्योरी भी है रिलीजन की, वो आगे आपको पढ़ाऊंगा फैमिली किनशिप में. कि these ideas are made common sense only because of religion and therefore religion legitimizes the illegitimate. जो गलत है उसको भी सही बना देता है. क्या बात है. डाउट पूछो अब, जो भी तुम्हारा डाउट है. Who constitutes the politics? ये तो देखो ऐसा है, कोई, मैंने वही बोला, आप कभी नहीं बोल सकते हो ये. इफ यू आर एक्सपेक्टिंग मी टू टॉक अबाउट वन पर्सन, वो गलत होएगा. हु गेव इंडिया इंडिपेंडेंस? हम कभी बोल नहीं सकते गांधी या नेहरू या फिर सुभाष चंद्र बोस. हम बोलते हैं मूवमेंट, सोशल मूवमेंट से इंडिपेंडेंस मिली, जो कि सही बात है. ये नहीं बोल सकते आप गांधी ने इंडिपेंडेंस दिलाई. एक आदमी पे आप बोल, इनफैक्ट हमें तो बोलना ही नहीं, एक आदमी का तो हमको नाम ही नहीं लेना. पाप है, सोशियोलॉजी में पाप है एक आदमी का नाम लेना. हमको सिर्फ कैटेगरीज में खेलना है. सेक्युलराइजेशन इज नॉट रिलीजन. सेक्युलराइजेशन तो एक प्रोसेस है ऑफ डिक्लाइन ऑफ रिलीजन. सेक्युलराइजेशन थोड़ा रिलीजन है. अगर तुम उस लाइन ऑफ थॉट में सोच रहे हो कि न्यू फॉर्म ऑफ रिलीजन, वो भी नहीं है वो, क्योंकि सेक्युलराइजेशन का डेफिनेशन ही है डिक्लाइन ऑफ रिलीजियस बिलीफ. आदर्श गुप्ता, इंडियंस ब्राउन्स बर्डन ऑफ वाइट, एग्जांपल ऑफ कल. हाँ, बोल सकते हो, बिल्कुल बोल सकते हो. ठीक है, चलो बाकी कल करते हैं.